In last two sessions, we have seen the data types. Data types are basically to store the values, to create a variables which stores the values. We have seen integer, float, double, string, character, bool, and any. We have seen type annotation. Type annotation means, let's say if we specify the data type of a variable, that is called type annotation. And type inference. Type inference is the compiler itself identifies the data type of a variable based on the value provided. Here it is treating a value is treated as integer because we are assigning the integer. And we have seen tuples. Tuples are basically grouping multiple values together. We have seen 3 different ways. This is one way. The second way is simply passing the values. Second way is giving the labels. Something like that. Third way is taking the values. Basically, the purpose of tuples is to return multiple values from a method. And we have seen operators and string interpolation. String interpolation process of embedding the values inside a string. Inside the string. So like I am teaching language. It produces I am teaching system. That's I'm having letter language equal to Swift. If you use string interpolation, you will see the output as I am teaching Swift. And what else we have seen? We have seen operators. We have seen variable and constants. We declare variables as using var keyword and constants by using let keyword. And what else we have seen? Operators, right? Operators. We're having 3 different operators, different kind of operators. One is unary, binary, and ternary operator. Unary means which performs operations on single operand. Binary means which performs operations on multiple instances, two operands. That is called binary. If your operator performs operations on 3 operands, that is called ternary operator. The unary operator we are having is unary. Unary operators we are having less, minus, not. And we are having ternary binary operator plus, minus, multiply, division, modulus, division. And we also have logical operators. That is logical and logical or double equal to, not equal to, less than, greater than. And conditional we are having conditional operator. This is conditional operator. Give me a moment. These are the various operators we have seen. We have some other operands like range operator we are having, milk pulsing operator we are having, typecasting operator we are having. You see those as and when we cover those specific related topics. And we have seen conditional statements like if conditional, if else if ladder. Else if ladder means if else, and finally else. Till now, we have covered till here. Today we see switch case and control statements. Okay. If you see here, let's say I want to check. I have marks. I just want to check whether he is in first class or second class or third class. My conditions are first class means above 70 marks. Second class means above 60 and below 70. 60 and below 70. If it is exactly 35, simply pass. If it is below 35, failed. These are the different cases I want to achieve. How do we achieve here? First, we check marks equal to 70. If marks are 70, I display first class. Else, if marks greater than 60 and less than marks less than 70. Here it is second class. Here else if marks equal to 35 I can say print just past it. Else I am putting, let's say it is simply as in normal condition fail. Here if you see, this looks, there are many conditions and it looks clumsy as well. It is not that neat to read and understand. Simply, this we can convert in the form of switch marks. I can say if it is 70 to 100, more than 70 basically, more than 70, I say first class. Case 60. This is range operator. We are giving range from so-and-so location, so-and-so number to so-and-so number. 60 to 69. I say print second class. Case 35. Simply passed. Just passed. In all remaining cases, I print failed. This looks neat to read and understand. This is the only major difference is this. Whenever you're having one option and you want to make sure you're checking the same option with multiple things, then you can go for switch case. Instead of writing multiple if else conditions, you can simply use a single switch case and where you can mention the ranges or direct values or default values like this. Let me show you. Let's say I'm having a variable called age, which is 18, and I'm checking if the age is 0, you're just bar. If age is between 6 to 15, I'm using range operator here. Go to school. If it is between 16 and 22, college time. If it is, you can also specify comma separated values here, 23, 24, 25, 26, and marriage time. 27 to 60, family responsibilities. If he is 100, get ready to say goodbye. Other than this, you are a free bird. After 60, he doesn't have any responsibilities. So he's free bird. If he is 100, means he is ready to go. This is How we can use multiple things here? I'm just giving single value. I'm giving group of values. Here I'm giving comma separated values, single value by default. I'm giving here. Okay, this is our switch. Switch is a conditional statement which is used to choose one choice or option among multiple options. You're having multiple things here. If you want to choose one among them, you can use the switch. Which school to choose based upon your requirements? You just put your requirements here in the marks, some variable, and you will choose so and so school. Are we meeting the current required requirements or not? Based on that, we choose. Generally, we use very less the switch case. Which phone to purchase? You have your own requirements. Based on the requirements, you keep matching your requirements with the features of the phone. Whichever is suitable for your requirements, then you choose that. To choose one among multiple, we need to use multiple if statements, which makes our easier life without using if else ladder. Here, in case of switch case, auto break. If you see in Objective-C or any other language, if this is true, if it also checks for the below case, it also checks for the below case. Here, basically, let me put here marks are 40, right? Let me put 75. Run it. It is running. Here it is displaying first class and just jumping out of the switch. In other languages, if you see, it also prints the. If you have any specific case here, let me say 75 if I have. In other languages, it also prints the 77. But here, the switch, the behavior of the switch is it auto breaks. Auto breaks means once any condition is met, it simply comes out of that. There is one more keyword called, you can use explicitly break as well. The behavior is same. There is one more thing called fall through. Okay, I'll use the fall through. See the difference. When you use fall through, irrespective of the next case, it executes that. Even if you put 99 here, your marks are 75. Even if you put 99, actually it is false. Though we are using fall through, this will be executed. Basically, we don't use fall through. The purpose of fall through is whenever you are specifying dependent cases. Dependent case, I will show you an example here. Default case is must. Without default case, you cannot use the switch. You cannot use the switch. I'll tell you there are some cases where you can use it without default as well. Generally, it needs default. Okay, you can also, this is the switch syntax. By default, you need to have one case and default is minimum. This is what the example we have seen. Fall through. Basically, whenever you are using fall through, the next case is dependent on the upper above case actually. Fall through statement executes next case after the matching case, irrespective of the case matching or not. Fall through executes next case after the matching case. Here if this is 22, 22 is this is the matching case. Since we are using fall through, the next case will be executed irrespective of the value. Here I am having one more example. I is 100. If you see, you can also use this is the range operator, and this is called this operator. And we have this operator as well. This operator is half open range operator. Half open range operator. We have that as well. The name of this operator is half open. I'll tell you. I'll show you for loops. We can also use characters in the switch case. You can go to the compound operators we have seen. Plus equal to, minus equal to, star equal to, multiply, division equal to. Conditional operator we have seen. Yesterday we have seen whether the person is passed or not. Typecasting. Typecasting is basically converting one data type value to another data type. By default, the Swift does not support implicit typecasting. Objective-C supports, but Swift does not support. The typecasting means, let's say I am having where a value equal to of type int equal to 10.50. I am specifying a value is a variable of type integer, but I am giving here double value. In other languages, what happens is the a value holds 10. It just simply ignores .50 because this is of type integer. It ignores the whatever it saves, stores, it takes. Remaining will be discarded. This is how it automatically happens in other languages. That is called implicit typecasting. But Swift does not support implicit typecasting. Okay, that is what the type safety. Type safety, Swift is the type safe language. That is what we told at the beginning. What is type safe? If I are giving 10.50, it is not accepting to take only 10. Because we are losing some data. So the Swift does not accept it. You have to explicitly specify this is int. Take no problem. You take 10. This is how you can specify by using typecasting. Typecasting is converting double value into integer here. One value type from converting a value from one data type to another data type. That is what the typecasting. This is how you achieve the typecasting. Here is the destination data type. I just want to convert the 10.50 into integer. So the destination is into. The source is double. I want to convert to double into integer. So I have to use the destination data type braces the source value. Typecasting is a process of converting one data type into another. This is the typecasting operator. The desired data type and the within the braces, you have to use the value of specified data type. Basically source data type. Swift provides two keywords to achieve typecasting: is and as. We will discuss these two further. As we have told you, the Swift does not support implicit typecasting. You can go through this document. The same is explained there as well. Naming conventions. Naming conventions are very, very important. Whatever code you write should be readable and understandable. That is the reason we have to follow some kind of guidelines. One kind of guideline is the naming, following the naming convention. Generally, in Swift, we write classes, methods, data types, variables, etc. While writing the classes and methods, which notation you need to follow, even the file names, and while writing the variable names, which notation you need to follow, and while writing methods, which notation you need to follow. For file names, you have to use capital camel case, like string.swift, car.swift, custom table view.swift. Here, these are the three different words: custom, table, view. So you have to use upper camel case, where even the starting letter also starts with upper alphabet. Class names, for class names also you use upper camel case, capital camel case, and for variables and methods you have to use the lower camel case. A into, a car, a lorry, a value. Even in my examples also I have used marks. This is single word, this is variable, so everything will be lowercase only. I frequently use a value. Here a is a one word and value is another word. For variables, it should start with lower camel case, so I am using smaller, and the next word should be upper, starts with upper. A into, a car, a lorry. Even the method names also same, lower camel case you need to use. Okay, we keep using the same format in my examples as well. Optionals. Where are the control statements? Control statements, we will see this. Yeah. Control statements. Control statements are very, very important. And even conditionals are important. Control statements are also important. Let's say I want to write a method which performs, which prints the hello, and having one line, hello script, and having. Let me comment all the above code. Let's run it. Hello Swift is printed. Wonderful. I want to print the hello Swift for 5 times. Let's wait for the compiler to compile and execute. Wonderful. 5 times you got. I want to print the hello world for 10 times. I'll write 10 lines. We get 10 hello Swifts here. What if I want to hello Swift for 10,000 times, 1,000 times? We are doing same work, but writing 1,000 times. This is not a correct way of writing. You always need to think about how do you reduce the number of lines. How to reduce the number of lines, and performance also you need to check. But writing 1,000 lines is not dynamic actually. If a client asks me to print 1,000 hello Swifts, I'll write 1,000 hello Swifts today. Tomorrow a client will come and ask 10,000. I will not keep writing all the hello Swift for 10,000 times. For that, we are having the control statements. Control statements we are having for loop. Here we are having for in. This is the syntax. Item in items, and if it is success, if it is okay success, just enter it and inside it. Now what I can do is I'll just give in I in items. We need to pass one array here. Items. This is item. This is items. You are getting. You need to do collection. How do you do collection? 1 to 1,000. Group of values, right? 1 to 1,000. These are group of values. I'm taking one value each time and printing all over. Hello Swift here. 1000 times the hello script is printed. If you want the count, you can also use I. I'm using string interpolation. It starts from 1. Take 1 will be assigned to I. That is that we are printing here. 1000. If client comes and asks print 10,000, I just need to change the value here. That's it. You don't need to make any change. Basically, the purpose of for loop is whenever you are performing same kind of operation multiple times, same operation performing multiple times, then you can go for loop or control statements. For in is one kind of control statement. The conditionals and control statements we regularly use actually. 10,000. Okay. If you do not want any value to be printed, you can simply ignore it. If you don't need, just ignore. If you need it to create a variable here and use that. Same effect again 10,000 times hello script is printed. This is what about for. Here we need to do a collection. Collection is group of values. Let's say I just want to, I'm having some student names I'm having. Let's say 1, 2, yeah, let me reduce this. Run dn shader. I have given some student names. I want to iterate through the collection. A student. Here I'm using the exact notation which we need to follow. Lower camel case for the variable in. We need collection here. I'm just printing name of the student is a student. Let's wait for to run. Yeah, the names are printed here in the given order. And the next control statement what we have is while. While is this is the syntax. Check the condition. If it is true, go inside and print. Even if you take if also same thing. Check the condition. If it is true, go inside. But this executes only one time. This executes till the condition is true. This executes till the condition is true. This executes only one time. If the execution starts from line number 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on 69, if it is true, executes line number 70. Else, just to come back to 72 and start executing rest of the things. Here the while is if the condition is true, go and print a number of lines what you have inside, and again check the condition. go and print. Again, check the condition, go and print. The loop will be iterated. Unless the condition is false, then only it comes out. Let me put here. Let where I equal to 10. I will write the condition there. First of all, I'm printing value is I will just give I here. Here I'm writing the condition. You don't need even braces. I not equal to 0. When I not equal to 0, print. I'll make it I minus equal to 0. Minus equal to 1. Let me remove the I'm using operator here. This is what we need. You can also remove the braces. I'm just initializing I with 10 and checking the condition. If I not equal to 0, then go inside and print the value and reduce I minus 1. Reduce I by minus 1. This is equivalent to I equal to I minus 1, right? Yesterday we have seen compound operators. Same compound operator. Here I am using. Generally, in other languages, you can use I minus minus or I plus plus. In Swift, it is not accepted. This operator we do not have. We don't have pre-increment, pre-decrement, post-increment, post-decrement operators. You have to use compound operators for that purpose. Let me comment this as well. I'm ready. Program ended. Here, the value of I is 10. It is not equal to 0. So the condition is true. Come inside and print the value of I equal to 10. And now I equal to I minus 1. That is, I becomes minus 1. 10 minus 1, that is 9. Go here, 9 not equal to 0. Go inside and print 9. And now it becomes 8. 8 not equal to 0. And so on. It continues. Whenever I becomes 0, the condition is false. The next lines will be executed. Here, ended will be executed. This is how the while loop works. And do while or repeat while we have repeat while. Repeat while I'm just resetting the value here to 10. Let's see. I don't know. So let's see. Let me try. Same condition. I not equal to 0. I minus equal to 1. And print the value. Print the value. Let me comment this. Let's see if it is true. Same thing we are doing here. Here also we are having condition. Here also we are having condition. Only thing is repeat is extra, and we are doing I equal to I minus 1. Here also reading I equal to I minus 1, and we are also printing the value. We can use the same value to be printed here. Okay. Here it is the same values 9, 10, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Here the difference here is even if you put 0, this block of code will be executed at least once. We are having do while, same story here as well. Even if the condition is false, already 0. This one. Wait for it. Just keep executing. Is there a way to stop it? Yeah, let me close on the pre-launch. Repeat while is equivalent to the do while. Irrespective of the condition, the block of code will be executed at least once. It becomes infinite loop when we put 0 here. It becomes 0 minus 1. Become minus 1 and the loop is always true. Even if you put 100 here, actually the condition is false. Okay, condition is true here. Let me put the condition equal I equal to 90, then only below 90. Below 90, then only execute. I am putting 100 here. It is not supposed to execute actually, but it gets executed at least once since we are using repeat while. We will see some real-time conditions when to use repeat while and for. The difference here is between the foreign and while is in while we don't know how many number of times the condition becomes true. We'll see some one real-time example when we deal with database. And in for specified lengths of number of times to be executed here. But here you don't know how many times to be executed in real time. Now we are putting static condition, so we know that it will be executed for 10 times. But actually, here we take any database operation, we are not sure that when it returns the record or not. In such cases, the while will be, we don't know how many number of times will be executed. It depends on the record which is fetched from the database. But in case of for loop, we have to give the number of times at the beginning itself. Here itself, we know how many number of times the for loop will be executed based on the result here. This is the syntax for identifier in range. The range could be enclosed range, half open range. Half open range we haven't seen. Let me show you what exactly the half open range. This is for loop. Let me write another for loop. I in 0, 1, 2, 3, 10. Value is I. See the difference here. Then comment rest of the stuff. Given this, let's see the result. This is half open range and right normal range. And put some break. You can see the difference. We are using same 1 to 10, 1 to 10. When you use the half open range, only till 9 it is considered. The last value is not considered. The last value is not treated. Okay, what is the difference between half open range and closed range? This is closed range. Closed range means inclusive of first value and last value. Sorry, this is closed range. Half open range means excluding of last value. In other language, if you want to print the value from 10 to 0, how do you do? You use the for int I equal to 0, I equal to 10, let's say I equal to 10, I greater than or equal to 0, comma I minus. So I want to decrease the value and the print. This is how you write. But in Swift, how do you write it? Pre-decrement or post-decrement. Further, we are having one method called stride. Let me see. For I in 1, 2, 10. Stride. So, set it was from 10 to 0 minus into I. Then you want to reverse the order from 100 to you want to come back to 0 by using for in loop. Then you use the stride. It started from 10 and ended at 1 by 0. Okay. Let's go if you want to jump 2 to. This is also possible by using stride. We don't use it actually. Very, very rare case. I have not used it so far, but this is required to know. When you face interviews, they will ask you. Ten, 8, 6, 4, 2. These are the control statements. We are having foreign. If you do not want to use this value, please simply use the underscore. If you want to use the value, then use the identifier and use the same identifier here. This is half open range, does not include the last value. Fast enumeration. Like you are having your array, we have seen array, right? For array, if you want to iterate through array, we have seen student names and printing them. And if you want to perform anything, here you can perform here. I just want to print length. Count means it gives the number of characters in each string. That is what is about. And dictionaries we have not seen. We see them when we have class on dictionaries. And while condition and block of code. Repeat while does the same thing here. It is equivalent to do while. Switch we have already seen. And in tomorrow's class, we see the very important thing, very important concept for interviews as well as in development, that is called optionals.